Hi, and welcome back to CyberVibeCheck. My name is Quentin. This is going to be Lab 4, where I'm going to show you how to audit cloud security using ScoutSuite, right? So, a lot of jobs I've seen a lot of descriptions, especially going into cybersecurity, expect you to understand AWS and how that is used as far as containerization, cloud environments, and setting those different configurations as far as users, groups, security audits, and tools that they offer already pre-set up for you. Certain security controls that are already set that you can use through AWS, right? So, unlike on-premises configurations, a misconfigured S3 bucket is publicly exposed to the entire internet by default, right? So no exploit needed, just the right URL. I believe back in 2019, Capital One had a breach of over 100 million work records, and it started with a misconfigured web application firewall, right? Along with a identity access management role that had way too much access and permissions. So you're going to see as we go through this different lab the way we set up those different permissions, the users groups, um, and those roles and the level of permissions that if I was in an identity access management role for my home lab, what I would use to set the standard for. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up our AWS Free Tier account. Okay, so we have our account set up and I am in the main home menu, our console home. So here you can see all the different applications, the credits we have, the days remaining for those credit usage. You're going to see me go to all the different services that are offered, and so many different organizations use AWS. It is a very, very large cloud platform. So you're going to see all the different directories, tools, inspectors, management services, cloud management, business application, analytics. They have game development within the cloud. They have really awesome tools that you can use, right? So we're going to go to our identity access management service. And this is going to be our dashboard right here. Different security recommendations that it could already see. Groups, users, roles that are available, policies, identified providers. You can create aliases for the account. We're going to go to users right here. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and create a user, right? I'm going to give it the name ScoutSuite Auditor. And then from here, we're going to be setting the permissions. And this is where Capital One had made their mistake doing the different permissions. So just kind of looking through it, reading through it. We're going to create a group within it because we're going to add it to a group, right? Which is going to have its own level of permissions. So you have your group, and then within the group are the users, and governing the group are the permissions or policies, right? So we're going to go ahead and add Security Audit. I'm going to go back and give it a name, but you're going to see me add this first, right? And this is just because I didn't put a group name, which you're going to see me do here in a moment. Okay, so our audit team team member was added to our audit team of the group using the attached policy of the security audit already set by Amazon. And so this API is going to do only read only. It's not going to be any like destructive actions or using your credits to your account or your cloud environment. It's only the security best practices that they offer. And so now we see that our user has been created successfully, right? Now we're going to go into terminal. I'm going to open up a new window here. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and install ScoutSuite. Now, you're going to see me do a little bit of troubleshooting because the version of ScoutSuite that I was attempting to install from Anaconda was not correct with the version needed to run on my computer. And so you're going to see me do some troubleshooting, including using AI, because I had no idea what was going on and why it wasn't working. And this is how I use AI. And then from here, while that is installing, I'm going to go ahead and set up my access key, which you're going to see me do here. I'm going to go to create access key. And from here, we're going to select command line interface. I think these other settings are definitely more for specific use cases, but here we're just going to have a general use case of command line interface to interact back and forth with the access key, okay? Okay, and now I'm going to put a quick tag description. And I'm going to create that access key. And there we go. So now we have an access key and a secret access key, right? And you can't go back and access this page again, so you are going to have to go back and download it. Now, going back to us installing ScoutSuite, you're going to see me do a little bit of troubleshooting here, right? So we got an error. It's missing a few things. Some of the dependencies required in order to run the application, right? So I'm just kind of looking through everything. I'm going to try to call it by using AWS Configure, and you see the command was not found. Once again, a little bit lost here, but you're going to see me fast forward through some troubleshooting, going back through different things like that. Okay, and then from here, I figured out that I didn't have the AWS CLI installed, and so you're going to see me brew install that here. And after it finishes downloading, you're going to see me run into another issue because I had all installed with different dependencies and packages on the forefront. I had to go back in and uninstall those and make sure that it was pointing, whenever we called AWS, it was pointing to the right package within my system. And so you're going to see me do that with a command using AI. I had to go to Gemini. And from there, once we can do the AWS configure, I was able to put in my credentials from the access key. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to run Scout AWS, and it's going to begin scanning all of the configurations and controls set by our policy rule we have put in for our users, right? So we're going to go back. And also don't forget to download this if you want to save it. You will not be able to go back and view it. So you're going to see me download it, and then I'll hit done. So here you're going to see I'm going to begin my first scan, but I ran into a few issues where I was not able to have access to a lot of the permissions that it was trying to call on and test for my system, which usually is because of like a version mismatch between the OpenSSL and cryptography inside of my Anaconda environment. So you're gonna see me upgrade and update pretty much like that Anaconda OpenSSL cryptography, and then I'm gonna run a brand new scan, right? So it's gonna ask for some permissions, and the scan is scanning. But then as I'm going through the scan, I kept seeing not authorized or permission not allowed. And so we do have to go in. I'm going to go back and update my policies to a read-only policy, so I give it permission to read those files and those controls and management. So you're going to see me go in and do that. So I go right back into the users. The permissions is what I meant to go back into. I clicked on the wrong thing. You're going to go into identity access management user groups and then permissions. And then from there, I will type in the read only. But you're going to see a lot of different things pop up. And so I did have to set a filter for it. And then once I did the job function manage, and then I could do the read-only access, then I can attach the new policy. So I'm going to cancel the scan, and then I'm going to redo the entire thing. I want to say it's Command C that I used. Okay, and then here is our report, our JSON file report that was delivered to us after our scan. And you could see all the analytics, the containers, the databases, the different configurations for the management, security, network, storage. A lot of these tools I haven't added into this environment that we have set up so far for our identity access management. But when I do click on the IAM dashboard, here you're going to see all of the different, I guess what you would call our CVEs. And I'm going to call them CyberVibeChecks. And the vibe is not very good. We don't have passwords that are set to expire after 90 days. We have the length on the passwords are too short. There's no expiration set for the passwords once again. And so you can show all, but just the danger shows the most immediate things that need to be resolved before things get too far and we have an entire takeover. and data leak, which we don't want to have for our organization. So this is just one way to do your initial scan and findings over those policies once you are going into an organization um, as an identity access management administrator, right? And here I'm just kind of going through showing the different buckets inside of our S3 bucket. If we did a full scan on that, it's just so many different pieces of information that you can pull. But of course, today we're just focusing on that IAM. All right, and that's going to be it for our lab 4 and how to audit cloud security with ScoutSuite. If you were putting this on your resume, you could easily put in your portfolio section that you executed an automated cloud security audit using ScoutSuite against an AWS environment, identifying misconfigured IAM policies and publicly exposed S3 buckets. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe. We're going to head right into our lab 5, and I will see you there.